Hey guys, are you anything like me? Maybe a little stressed or anxious while out on the disc golf course? Possibly a little sore and achy after your round? Then you should check out our new sponsors over at WunderKind. WunderKind is a team of dedicated young professionals committed to providing quality insured, lab-tested, full-spectrum CBD products. They're located in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and they're shipping nationwide. Whether you're checking out their relaxing indica tincture, their stimulating sativa, or any of their hybrid strains, WunderKind always delivers on its promise to upgrade your chill. Have a sweet tooth? WunderKind also has some of the most full-spectrum gummies on the market. It's legal in all 50 states and always shipped free. WunderKind makes it easy to find the right product for your own lifestyle. Whether you're looking for that relaxing way to end your day or you need to calm some nerves and add focus into your day, we have something for you. Go ahead and feel good with WunderKind. Use our code RUNIT15 at www.wunderkindextracts.com. That's WunderKindextracts.com. And make sure to check them out on Instagram at WunderKind Extracts. We thank WunderKind for sponsoring this podcast, and we hope you guys check them out.
This is Cale Aviska, and you're listening to Running It with Nate Sexton.
Running It with Nate Sexton is brought to you in part by Innova Champion Discs, the choice of champions.
Hey disc golf fans, welcome back to another edition of Running It with Nate Sexton. I am your co-host, Jarett. He is the 2017 United States Disc Golf Champion and Innova's very own King Arthur, our host, Mr. Nate Sexton. Nate, how you doing today, man?
I'm great, Jarett. How are you?
Man, I'm happier than a puppy with two Peters. I am ready to go, and I dropped that King Arthur reference in there because that X-Cal now, that's a Nate Sexton disc, right?
Yeah, man, I'm so excited about that. Just kind of a cool opportunity that we'd been working towards for a while, and yeah, so now, for the foreseeable future anyway, it'll be a signature series disc. So any Star X-Cal out there in the world should have my signature on it and have a cool little sword on there. So yeah, really excited. I've never had a true signature series disc before, and that before the Tour Series thing was ever a thing, that's what the Firebird and the Firefly and all those discs are. When I first started, that wasn't even something that companies did. So the signature series was like the pinnacle, the top of the mountain that I always wanted to get to. And so I'm just really humbled and happy to say that I achieved that.
Now, of course, before we get started with today's amazing interview, we got to pay some bills. And you guys already know I'm talking about our friends over at FisherDiscGolf.com. FisherDiscGolf.com is the official retail sponsor of Running It with Nate Sexton. You guys know they do their disc stacks live every Tuesday and Friday night. They've moved the start time up to 7 p.m. to make sure you guys can get in there and get your disc stacks selected and not have to stay up late. Also, FisherDiscGolf.com is the sponsor of Clint Calvin, and they're going to be releasing his team stamp. That's going to be available this Friday morning. So as you're downloading this show, you guys can head over to FisherDiscGolf.com, pick up a Clint Calvin team stamp, help support him as he's out there on the road. Fisher Disc Golf has been an amazing support of Running It with Nate Sexton. They've got some great apparel out there, Fisher hats, all the gear that you need to go play your round, and of course, 18 different brands of discs to choose from. I've said it before, guys, if you've gone to FisherDiscGolf.com while you've been listening to this show, but you haven't done it recently, hop on there. They're constantly updating, getting new discs, new plastic, new apparel in every single week. FisherDiscGolf.com. And as a special thank you for listening to this show, Nate, how can they save themselves a little bit of money?
Well, as always, we've got our code RUNIT10. That'll get you 10% off your first order at FisherDiscGolf.com. The shipping is always free there. And like we said, they got all the discs under the sun hopefully they're going to get a nice big box of those Nate Sexton Signature Excaliburs as well. So perfect place to pick those up.
FisherDiscGolf.com, guys. The best way to support the show is to support our sponsors. Now, Nate, we have a new sponsor featured here on Running It with Nate Sexton, and I know it's one that you're really excited about because you're the kind of guy that likes a tasty snack, and I'm talking about Double G Craft Jerky. Guys, what's better than an amazing beef jerky snack when you're getting ready to play around or just watch some disc golf and know that you're getting an amazing snack while supporting a great player who's out there on tour? Double G Craft Jerky is a little different than any other jerky you're going to be able to pick up at the store. They actually make their jerky from brisket, which I don't know how familiar you guys are with your meats, but brisket being one of the higher end qualities out there, that's how they're making this jerky. If you've checked into any of the episodes of Running It with Nate Sexton, you've heard us on episode 11. We had Jarett on. He told us all about how he makes this jerky, why he makes this jerky, and realistically, Nate and I have just kind of enjoyed snacking on it. So you guys can help support the show and support Double G by visiting doublegjerky.com. Picking up one of these awesome bags of beef jerky. There's 4 different flavors available right now, a lot more to come, and we are so excited to have them to be a part of this show.
Absolutely. I mean, Garrett's a great friend. He's got a great product. It's something that he's been passionate about his whole adult life, and they do some good as well. At 25 cents from every bag is going to the Double G Children's Foundation. And what they're doing with some of that money is buying PDGA junior memberships for kids that don't have the disposable income to do that. So they've already bought 6 of those. I know that kind of speaks to Garrett's past as well, because he didn't grow up with a whole lot of extra money around the house with his family. So I know he's reaching out, trying to do good things for those kids. And, you know, maybe we find the next Double G that way, another incredible talent that wouldn't have had the chance to explore our great game without a little bit of help. So shout out to Jarett for making something great, for advertising with us, and for helping some kids along the way.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I'm telling you right now, this beef jerky is amazing. We did the taste test on the show. If you haven't heard it, go ahead and hit the archives. Episode 11, Running It with Nate Sexton. We had Jarett on. In fact, we had the Chanimal sit down and try some beef jerky with you. And you guys really loved it. It's a big hit in my house. My kids love it. I keep ordering more. doublegjerky.com. Hop on there, help support the show, help support Jarett as he's out there on tour. Get yourself an amazing snack. He's got a great team over there. We've been talking to Ted and James, and they've really been helping Jarett kind of facilitate this amazing business while he's out there throwing those bombs on the course. So we want to thank Double G Jerky. Again, an amazing snack coming from an amazing team and doing some awesome things in the disc golf community. Go ahead and check them out. Pick up a bag, support the show, support Double G, and get yourself something nice in your stomach. Now, before we get into our guest today, I've got to ask a follow-up from the last week and the previous week. Dude, did you get to drive the McLaren or not?
No, I did not. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can believe it, actually.
You want to know why? You want to know why?
Why?
Because Paul's house that he lives at doesn't have a garage. So his old house, where he's got his property and he's building the course and everything, and his in-laws live, that's where the McLaren is. We drove over there to take a look at the course and to see the car and just hang out, before my flight out. We get there, we pull the cover off it, it looks amazing. He forgot the keys.
Oh, how convenient, Paul.
I know. So we couldn't even unlock it. We couldn't even swing the doors up and sit in there. We just had to look at it from the outside. So kind of a bummer, but also it was still really fun to see. And, obviously, good friend of mine, and he's doing so well. And I was just smiling to see him in his element there, going through his course and get to play his brand new design out there in the public park that's super tough and just a beautiful course. So it was a fun trip all the way.
Now, Nate, I think all your fans by now know that you are a fan of the pound bag. But when you were out in Virginia, it looked like you had the ounce bag. What was that you had going on there, man?
Well, I would have loved to bring my full bag and be able to attack that new course of Paul's with it, but that would have meant paying for checked baggage. And so sometimes when I'm going on a trip like this, that's not a tournament, just for a clinic, I just throw a couple of discs into my suitcase that I can put in the overhead bin. So I didn't have room, unfortunately, for my full tournament setup. So yeah, I was rocking the shopping bag out there on one of the hardest courses in the world.
Well, you know what? It still looked good, man. So, as I mentioned, I don't get nervous often before we do podcasts, and I don't know if I'm nervous, but I'm anxious and excited for today's episode. I'm like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs right now, man. Who are we running it with today?
Well, I mean, we have, I think, really without a doubt right now, the hottest player in the world. We've got the 2-time world champion, the 6-time major champion, my teammate, Mr. Ricky Wysocki.
Ricky, welcome, man.
Thank you, guys. Glad to be here with y'all. Great
All
to hear the
right.
intro that you guys had. And yeah, I'm super pumped to join the show and be a part of it.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your Jonesboro prep. I assume you're there in Arkansas getting ready for the DGPT.
Yep. Yeah, I just got done playing at the course. Me and Kevin did a practice round, and just getting a lot of reps in. That's pretty much my life, is going back and forth to the course and my Airbnb and wherever I'm staying for the week, and going back and forth to the course, getting as many reps in as I can. That's how I feel the most comfortable week in and week out at these big tournaments.
Yeah, and I guess it's working because, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, it's another year, it's another Texas with Rick. I mean, you came out of there just had me convinced that you could never lose again. After Belton and Texas State's, man, you were incredible. And I got to do the commentary live for Texas State, so I was like watching every shot as it happened, just getting so pumped in the booth, taking advantage of my mute button so I could do some fist pumps, all that kind of stuff, man. So yeah, it was inspiring stuff. You were making so many putts. I went to the course. I think I might have told the story on this podcast, but I went to the course the next day after watching you shred, and I went out there. I'm like, I'm Rick now. I putt hard now, and I got 10 birdies in a row. So I was like, dang, this is the good life.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a good life. And yeah, no, for some reason, Texas just makes me feel like I'm in my comfort zone all the way around every tournament I play there. So yeah, it was a great week, great tournaments there, and it was it definitely gave me some confidence heading into the middle part of this year. And yeah, I think that was my 6th Texas State win. So Texas State's is always in a new location, and yeah, it was awesome that I was able to capture my 6th Texas State title. Pretty cool.
That's amazing.
It's more than any other state I've won in, so
yeah,
that's a cool feat.
Yeah, that is really amazing. I mean, you definitely got to be you're a legend everywhere you go, but in Texas especially, your winning percentage has been crazy over the years. Every year you seem to, I mean, just playing in the wind, and you got all that power with both spins. I just feel like windy putting, you're in your element down there for sure.
Yeah, I think in Texas State's is always at a new course every year. It's some courses for Texas State's are wooded, some are open, like you said, in the wind, and so I think that's just why I've had so much success. Is that it's not always favoring a certain player. It's some years it's in the woods, and you know, I feel like I'm a diverse player that I can play all different styles of courses, and that's why I feel like I'm such a consistent player throughout my career, no matter what the style of course is.
Yeah, no question. You can't really design a course that's going to be that difficult for you, because obviously your skill set is super, super well rounded, and that's a testament to all the time you put in practicing. Like you said, it's rep after rep, and just kind of eat, sleep, and do it again. But
exactly.
Yeah, man, I want to kind of get into a little bit of your history in the game and just kind of let people know, in case they haven't heard before, kind of how you got started, ask you a couple questions. Obviously, I don't know all the answers to these, so I want to start out just by saying you got a huge family, and you're really close with them. And I know that some of them kind of help you with like your website and all that. But first question, how many siblings do you have, and how many of them could hit a 30-footer if you gave them 5 tries?
That's so funny. I love that question. So I've got 8 total siblings, including me. I've got 6 sisters and 1 brother. So for the longest time, I was just a bunch of girls in the house, and that's a big reason why I went on tour. I wanted to get away from all the girls and go out on tour and experience life. But I left the house early when I was like 16 and pretty much went on tour. But growing up in the Wysocki household, it was fun. Lots of people, big family. When you're older now, it's awesome looking back and having so many people to talk to, and like you said, help with the website. My sister Lauren has been very helpful with growing the Sake Bomb brand and helping with the website. I have a Sake Bomb subscription where people pay a monthly and they get cool Sake Bomb stamp discs and custom different things every month. So she's been helpful with that website stuff. And then I take my brother out to play. I'm trying to get him motivated to play disc golf. He's not super motivated right now, but he's a young kid. He's only 15, so you never know what the future will hold for him. To answer the question as far as how many can make a 30-footer on 5 tries, I think Zach, he's one. Vonnie is a very good putter. She's my 19 or 18-year-old sister. She can hit a 30-footer. She's a solid putter. I think she could. If she's 30 feet, I'm putting her at 5 out of 10. She's a 50%er.
Yeah.
She's solid.
In no problem. Yeah, great.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we got some good putters in the Wysocki clan. I think that my sister Vonnie is, out of all of them, has the most potential, and she's 18 right now, and I take her out as much as I can, try to give her, get the disc golf bug to bite her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been awesome. My dad's been super supportive for me in my career, and it's just awesome to have a big family, and it's a great thing.
Yeah, man. So was it always that way with the support from your parents? Take me back to 2009. I saw your first tournament was 2008 in the PDJ, but 2009 you really started ripping. Like you said, you're only 16 or 17 years old. You played 25 tournaments. You're playing a bunch of amateur, but then also playing a ton of professional events and taking podiums and just turning down the cash, waiting for the Am Worlds, I assume. But how were you doing that at such a young age? Were you just in the car and just who were you traveling with? Were your parents totally behind it? How did it all go?
Yeah, no. So basically, what happened was, in high school I was big into baseball. My dad really pushed me into playing baseball, and I loved it. And then eventually one day I just got kind of burnt out with it, and I didn't really have the passion that I did when I was younger. And so that kind of ran its course, and I didn't really like baseball as much anymore. And it started transitioning to disc golf, and that's right when I found disc golf. And then it came for high school tryouts, and my dad was, obviously pushing me to play baseball. He's dropped me off at tryouts, and I didn't want to be there at tryouts because I didn't want to make the team. So I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, all right, well, how can I play more disc golf, but yet make my dad think that I missed tryouts and didn't make the team? Because I was pretty good. I was definitely a good baseball player. No, definitely good enough to make the high school team. So basically what I did is I went to tryouts. I started striking out on purpose, and I whiffed ground balls, because I'm an infielder. I played shortstop, and I would bobble ground balls so that way I didn't make the team. Sure enough, I didn't make the team, and my dad was thrown off so bad. He's like, "What the heck? How'd you miss the team?" and so it was the funniest thing that, to this day, actually, I think just recently in a Jomez profiled video, I kind of explained what happened. This was only a year ago, so 26, and it happened when I was 16. And he found out through the Jomez video that I botched tryouts on purpose.
What did he say?
So he kind of he kind of came at me like, "Whoa, what was this?" I knew it was a little fishy at the time, but now I know all the details. All right, I'm glad he found out now after I became a world champion and kind of have the career that I've had, because once I missed tryouts, it was kind of when I started going on tour, and at that point he was not very supportive. He's like, "You just missed tryouts, or he didn't know at the time that I botched it on purpose." And here I'm going to these tournaments, sleeping in my car, and playing these C tiers in Ohio and in all the local states, trying to get my amateur points for amateur worlds and work my way up the ranks. And so yeah, basically my life went from playing baseball every day to playing disc golf every day. Now I'm going to tournaments, sleeping in my car, eating off the dollar menu at McDonald's, missing cash at these sometimes C tiers, just getting myself out there. And so I guess it just goes to show that just like anything you do, I mean, a lot of people see the success, but they don't see that you got to start somewhere. And for me, it was traveling around in my car, sleeping in my Honda Accord, my front seat, eating off the dollar menu, waking up at the course and practicing all day and sleeping in my car, and then doing that for like you said, 2009 when I was transitioning from amateur to pro. I was a good amateur, but not quite good enough pro to make money. So I wasn't really cashing at these events. And if I did, it was chump change. I was making, tying for last cash, making $102, and the entry fee was $150. So I lost $150. So that kind of stuff was happening. And so my dad wasn't very supportive up until I kind of the point where it kind of transitioned was 2009. He wasn't supportive. He was still kind of ticked off about me not playing baseball up until 2011 when I was in the hunt at the major, the PDJ major that they transitioned from USDGC to the PDGA championship at Augusta.
Yeah.
So I was in the hunt, and it was only a couple hour drive from at the time we moved to South Carolina. And so he drove down, And then he ended up caddying for me, which I was like thrown off. I'm like, wow, he's really supporting me. This is crazy. Because I was always my motivation. Like, since he didn't support me after the baseball incident, it was my motivation to prove to my dad that I can make disc golf my career. And so I had to do it by performance-wise and winning tournaments, playing well, and being like, all right, Dad, here. Like, this is how I show you that I can make my way in this world, you know?
Yeah,
and so,
man.
So it's kind of a cool story to have your dad. To this day, I'm glad that he did that, because it made me motivated to turn him to the, you know, to support me after I started playing well. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to kind of throw this at you. I'm sure you're sort of aware of this, but I'm not sure all our listeners are. Like, 2009, you're playing some amateur. You're a kid sleeping in your car.
Mm-hmm.
2010, you're still a kid. You play 36 tournaments. You take 5th at a national tour. You play in the USDGC, and you get to 1,000 rating. So, wow, that was quick. 2011, like you just alluded to, you win a professional major at the PDGA Championship, and you advance to a 1020 rating. 2012, now you're like not even 20 years old yet. 42 tournaments, $37,000, NT champion at the Brent Hambrick, 2nd place at the Worlds and the USDGC, and now you're 1040. So that's 2010, 2011, 2012. 1,000, 1020, 1040. One of the best players in the world, just like that. I mean, incredible. I guess your dad was a believer then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, it was, you know, obviously a combination of hard work, dedication, all that stuff. You know, the whole sleeping in my car until I was going to, you know, make enough money to be able to afford a hotel, or had a big enough name to where the local disc golf community wanted to, you know, host me, or host family wanted to reach out, because I was, you know, making my name in disc golf. So that was kind of my motivation, is like, all right, well, once, you know, I'm going to do this until I prove to these people that, you know, I could be here and I have a name for myself. So yeah, it was definitely a solid transition. I think, you know, 2011 into 2012, I won Rookie of the Year in 2011, thanks to that PDJ major, like you said, that I won. And then
yeah, you better win Rookie of the Year when you win a major.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
Yeah, exactly. So I went 2011 Rookie of the Year, and then 2012 Rookie of the Year the year after. I don't think anyone
Player of the Year.
Yeah, 2012.
Yeah, to open Player of the Year. Yeah, and it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, second place at the Worlds and the USDGC in the same year. Just a couple shots. You know, that's like one little bounce away from world champion.
Oh,
it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, that's got to be one of the fastest rises anyone has ever seen, and especially considering in 2012 you're still only 19 years old. You know, so it's not like you were some seasoned vet exactly. You're still a really young guy and just already up at 1040. I mean, so just the hard work, but also so much talent. I mean, just the way you took to it with you know, your athleticism, incredible. I mean, just kind of set the sport on fire there, and haven't really stopped since. If I'm honest, you've kind of been killing it ever since then. I mean, the 2016 world champion, the 2017 world champion in Emporia and Augusta. Let's go to Emporia first. Kind of talk a little bit about how you remember that week, and you know, winning your first big major.
Yeah, no, I thanks for bringing that up. But yeah, 2016 Worlds was Emporia, Kansas. It's hot and it's humid there, and you know, for me, Worlds prep starts, you know, Worlds prep for me started, like you said, in 2008 when I first started practicing. Obviously, there's a lot that transpired from then until 2016. But like you called out, also in 2014 I got second at the Worlds. 2012 I got second at the Worlds. So there was a lot of times leading up to there that I had been super close, and and so it's one of those things where you get close and you hear, you know, the general public and the fans are like, all right, you know, get them next year. As a competitor, that's like the last thing you want to hear. It's awesome that the fans are supportive, and so I can put myself in the fans' shoes, and I'm super thankful that they're, you know, supportive of me and telling me, you know, hey, get them next year. But as an athlete, you want to, you know, do everything you can to win. That's why we're there. And so, you know, it's 2016. It was just all about the preparation before the event, and then executing, you know, all the shots that I practiced, that I, you know, had practiced for years, not just the 10 days before the event. But then, you know, there's a lot of pressure that I put on myself. That's for a top player like myself. That's the most pressure that I feel, is when I feel like I should play well and my game's in a spot to where I feel like I should win. That's when I feel the most pressure. And so going into 2016, my game was feeling amazing. My swing was good, my putt was good, and I knew I had all the variables that it took to win a world championship before the tournament started. And so then it was just going through and executing. And like I said, that, you know, you're getting the pressure from the worlds. You're getting pressure from each round. If you're in the lead or sleeping on the lead at a world title, like you just want it so bad that that's all you think about. And even when you try to go to sleep, you're like thinking like, hey, tomorrow's a big day. Like I can't sleep. And so there's a lot of variables that go into, practicing for worlds. And then once you get into that spot and you get yourself in the hunt, and even from my case, winning, and I was, a lot of the rounds I was sleeping on the lead and I wasn't sleeping because I just wanted it so bad mentally. So all I could think about is I focus all my mental energy when I'm trying to sleep as what am I going to do here? How am I going to handle high pressure situations tomorrow? What am I going to lean on if I'm nervous and I feel like I'm not super confident about a shot? What can I lean on form wise to think about when I'm under pressure? And so those are just things that I think about is before the tournament starts. I go through form things that in my head I can make a mental note, say, hey, when I'm under pressure down the stretch at a world championship, what can I think about to throw a shot and execute it exactly how I want to? And so there was just a lot of mental preparation that went into it as well as physical. So both things have to be on point to win a world title. And so it really was from start to finish. I was in my comfort zone mentally and physically. My game was in a great spot. And so that's pretty much what it takes. And that was great to get the monkey off the back as far as getting the world title. And that was a great year, and it was awesome to be a part of that and win my first worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. And just I feel like we can't not mention the 2014 Worlds when you brought up that second place, because if for any of our listeners that have come to the game recently and don't know about that, you gotta look up those videos, because that's a playoff, sudden death playoff. Paul Macbeth, Ricky Wysocki. Obviously, Paul got the better of you there, but I mean, as close as it gets to being there, to winning a world championship there, and that was Portland, Oregon, and one of the great battles we've ever seen in a world championship. So definitely our if you're looking to something to watch, some old disc golf to watch and kind of learn a little bit more about the history of the game, I would say definitely check that one out. Put that on the top of the list, because incredible battle.
Yeah, so totally. And the gallery was huge, some great shots, and the typical Paul Ricky rivalry at its finest for sure. Great high level play.
Yeah, and 2016, I mean, that had to be all the sweeter for the fact that, Paul was riding 4 in a row, and it kind of started feeling like, well, what, is Paul really going to just do a full Climo here and go for 9, 10? Right. What is he doing? And then you come in there and get 2 in a row for yourself, and it's like, okay, maybe now it's this guy, that's
right. Exactly.
Clearly you guys have been just the dominant players of this generation, and you're still fairly young, both of you, so I think we can look forward to a lot more. We saw it in Belton with you guys going toe-to-toe and playing just golf head and shoulders above the rest of the field. And I'm sure we got more of it to come. It's a treat for the fans every time we see it. So keep it coming.
Right on. I will.
Sweet, man. Well, yeah, so how about Augusta? Let's kind of take us a little story of that one. How'd you feel there? And that one, I was there just briefly. In Emporia, I must have got to play with you, because I made the lead card for one round. Unfortunately, I didn't stick around. But
in Augusta?
No, in Emporia I did.
Emporia, okay.
In Augusta, I actually...
In Augusta, too.
No, in Augusta I didn't play because I was there and I watched, but actually my daughter Coraline was born, and you can kind of try to... I didn't play it because her due date was right near that world, so I just, from the beginning, was like, I'm not playing. But she was born the day you won, and it was at 5:30 p.m. So, I mean, that had to be right around the putt. Right around, right? Like...
That's crazy, yeah. No, that's right around. Yeah, no doubt. That's so funny.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, I was definitely right not to play. Is what I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was there like 2 or 3 days before she was born, because it was driving distance from where I was living in Asheville. So I came down and watched you play one day. But yeah, she was actually born 5:30 p.m. on the day you won that second world championship. So I think within a couple minutes probably of that tournament ending.
Yeah, totally. Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
So what do you remember about that one?
Augusta, Augusta was so we played the Jackson course at IDGC. I remember that, and then we played Fort Gordon. It was like on a base.
Yep.
Was that a military base?
Yep. Yeah. The base is called Fort Gordon, I believe.
Fort Gordon, yeah. So that was a solid course. So they were both pretty wooded. I think Fort Gordon was a little more open than Jackson was at the IDGC, but. So there was, I would say overall, it was a wooded worlds compared to like Emporia, which is more open and windy. So it's a different skill set for sure. But yeah, no, heading into 2017, it was like, for me, it was I saw what it took mentally and physically to do what it took in 17 to win, or 16. And so I was just, all the variables that I did in 2016, I was looking back, I'm like, all right, well, what did I do 2 weeks ahead of time? How did I practice? How did I? And so I basically just took the recipe, rinse, wash, and repeated, and to a T. I just, my preparation was absolutely amazing. That's how I gauge something. Some of the tournaments that I win, I feel like I'm going to win before the tournament starts. Obviously, I'd like to do that in every tournament, but sometimes you just have that feeling. And Nate, I'm sure you know how it is, but basically sometimes you just wake up and you're like, that week is your week, and obviously there's certain things that happen with preparation that build your confidence, that make you think that. And so for me, 2017, there was, even more, I think there was pressure, but it wasn't like as much pressure as the first one. So the first one,
Sure.
all the way through from first hole till I tapped out, there was just immense pressure that I wanted to hold on so bad, that I was just putting and so I think for me it's crazy, and I want to kind of translate it to the public, but the pressure that I put on myself is more affects me more than if there was, thousands and thousands of people there. So I think playing at the top level, pretty much anything, if you go to a baseball stadium, it doesn't matter if there's, 100 people in there or if it's a full stadium, the top players that are playing there, it doesn't affect them any different versus, once you start playing at that level. And so I think that for me, yeah, it's just crazy that I'm so competitive and I want to win so bad that sometimes it's not a good thing that I put that much pressure on myself, but sometimes it's good, because you got to have that motivation, you got to have that drive to want to win, and you got to think you're going to win before you do. And mentally, obviously, you want to be humble, and there's a lot of personality traits that I try to do when I'm in the general public and talking to people, but like deep down when I'm talking to myself and I'm meditating and I'm thinking about what I want to do and how I want to attack and what mental mindset I want to be in to win this tournament is that's the biggest thing that I can remember about that tournament, is just being in such a good physical and mental mindset, and that's what allows me to execute and play, throw good shots consistently throughout the week. And so, yeah, for me, preparation starts, like I said, in 2016. Usually it's about 10 days before the Worlds. I'll show up and play a lot of rounds. I want to play as many rounds as I can. I want to throw in as many spots as I can. Obviously, trying to dial in my landing zones, trying to throw, a bunch of different shots, play each, as many days as I can in separate wind conditions. So that way, it doesn't matter what conditions are thrown at me for tournament day, I'm ready. I've played in those conditions. And so that's what's super important, is getting discs, throwing all your shots in different wind conditions, and landing in separate spots, throwing shots from different angles, going to certain angles on holes that maybe wouldn't be an ideal shot, but it might be a spot that you might potentially land in. That way you're not thrown off if you're a little bit out of position in the tournament. So just having that much practice before an event is super beneficial, and building your confidence in it, because if you're in that spot or in a similar spot during the event, you know exactly what you need to throw, how you need to throw it to get yourself up there. And the biggest thing that I think, like you talked about with me and Paul's rivalry, is when we're playing, I feel like we have that, that mental stamina, mental capacity to grind through, and we're so good at thriving off it. And that's the thing, is you can attack the nerves or let the nerves attack you. And when I see a lot of people in a lot of rookies and new players that come up on these league cards, because there's a lot of new players nowadays, there's a lot of people try to go real fast before the nerves kick in. And that's probably the number one worst thing that you can do, because it throws you off your routine, your form's off, and it just throws you out of your comfort zone. So for me, the biggest thing I've learned just throughout playing under pressure throughout all the years that I have is breathing deep, slow down, take my time, go through my routine, even more so than when you're under pressure versus when you're not, because your natural human instinct is to rush it, and because you're like, I don't like this feeling, I got to throw real quick before I get nervous. And so that's the biggest thing that sets me and Paul apart, is we're able to do that, and we're not rushing when we're throwing. We're calm, cool, and collective when we're under pressure. And so, yeah, that's the biggest thing that I think that I do really well, and I've learned to do, and I learned my tendencies when I'm under pressure. Hey, when I'm under pressure, what do I do? If I'm, playing for a world championship and I'm in the final round, what's my tendency going to be on a backhand, hyzer flip shot, or a 30-foot headwind putt? What's my putt normally going to do, and how can I adjust to it to where I can play that? If I'm nervous and my putt normally misses low into a headwind, adjust for it, aim higher, and put a little more spin on it. All the different variables that you can counterbalance the nerves with. And so I think that's something that I can take into every tournament, and I feel like I have a leg up on most people because I haven't made say a 30-foot headwind putt. If I have a 30-foot headwind putt for a win, I haven't made all of those, but the ones that I have made build confidence. And when I don't make them, I see what I learn, and so that's, you always hear people say, either I win or I learn. And that's a great saying, but it's hard, to dig a little deeper into the sports psychology behind that. It's so true, because you learn what you did wrong and how you can improve on it. And then you can go practice that. And, how you practice that is you get yourself in that spot again and again under pressure, whether it's the Worlds, whether it's a big tournament, an NT or whatever the pressure situation may be. And then you feel like you're more well equipped in the future, the more and more times you get up there and have that chance to win and have that 30-foot headwind putt. So that's in a nutshell what my take on playing under pressure and nerves.
Yeah, man, the mental game's so huge. I think certainly you don't win by accident, and that what you said about knowing that you can win, it's a hard place to get to mentally, but I do think it is somewhat a requirement to get in there and seal the deal, because you got to believe in yourself first, for sure. But speaking of that 2017 season, I mean, a record breaker, one of the best seasons ever played, 29 tournaments, $79,000 won PDGA money, record, never been beaten. 14 wins, 6 seconds, and 4 thirds. I mean, that's incredible for 29 tournaments. So what you spoke to, I think you kind of already answered it, but your preparation, your physical body, and your mental game were just peak. And, that's where you're always trying to get back to, I'm sure. It's just that finding that feeling. It seems like Texas kind of finds it for you. And then, a couple other times every single season you go on a hot run like that as well, in wherever you happen to be. But yeah, man, I love it. I think our fans can learn a lot from that approach and that confidence and the work you have to put into to be ready to win one. And I definitely know what you mean. Like the 2 times in my life when I've slept on the final day lead at the USDGC, and sleep is a word that doesn't quite fit, because like you're saying, you stay up. But both times, Ricky Wysocki's been 3 strokes back, and I've been staying up all night thinking about what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? One time it worked out real terrible, and the other time it worked out really well. So it's like
exactly
and it's no accident that the first time was the one that went terrible, because that time when I had the lead, I freaked out and blew up, and the next year I was like, or whenever it was, 2 years later, I was like, hey, I'm in the same spot. I'm 3 ahead of Rick. I already blew this. I know what it feels like to blow it. Let's try something else. And,
exactly.
and then I was able to kind of hang in there. So I totally get what you're saying there. And I think you can apply that kind of thinking even to your local C tier, for the guys coming up right now, just playing intermediate or advanced, just believing in yourself and trusting your game plan and getting out there. But yeah, man, really appreciate you kind of sharing that stuff with us. The next thing that I want to touch on that, that has been a huge part of your life, unfortunately, the last couple of years, is the Lyme disease. And I don't want to talk about choices or anything like that. I want to talk about how you're feeling now. Do you feel like it's totally in the rearview mirror and you're done, or is it something you're going to be battling for a long time? And how is it going to affect your life, and how did it affect your life?
Yeah, no, like you said, it's a rough, horrible thing. It's a terrible disease, and unfortunately it's very prevalent in disc golf courses. So all the disc golfers out there listening, definitely pay attention, do tick checks. You always hear people say it, but from the bottom of my heart, it was the most traumatizing thing that I've ever experienced in my life. Going from top level professional athlete, like you said, winning the world championships, being such as great a player as I am, and dedicated work and hard working person, and then to get bit by a tick and just basically overnight, just not being able to walk, being bedridden, having to walk with a cane, all my joints being inflamed because in Lyme's basically an inflammatory disease and just attacks your joints. And so I woke up one day and basically so fatigued and so, my joints were so inflamed that I literally couldn't get out of bed. And I literally woke up and cried one day and just basically thought my disc golf career was over. And it was just fully traumatizing mentally. It's just most depressed I've ever been. Lowest point of my life, mentally, physically, everything. And so, like, when you hear about sometimes these top NFL, not NFL in particular, but just top level athletes, they go from, being the best in their sport, and then they go down this, rabbit hole of depression. Maybe it's drugs or whatever it may be. And I totally got a dose of that. And I was only 25 when I got diagnosed. So I was just hitting my stride. And so that was super traumatizing, but I made some changes with my lifestyle. And I think that had a lot to do with me, being healthy, being where I'm at today. And so, to let everyone take some advice from it is, do some tick checks, definitely spray stuff on your shoes. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can take in precaution. But yeah, Lyme disease is no joke. And the one thing I can take away that's a positive from it is I changed my health and wellness outlook on life as far as my diet, my supplements, and all this different stuff for the better. So I know that if I eat crappy and if I do certain things with my diet, that it could cause it to inflame even more. So I have to stay on a really strict diet, which is great. I'm a top level athlete. I should be doing that anyway. But knowing that the Lyme disease is in my body and it's dormant as long as I eat well and I do all the right stuff throughout my diet, then I'm not going to flare up. So it's something where I can take a positive out of a negative and know that it's almost a life or death thing to where I have to eat good, otherwise I might not be able to walk because the Lyme might flare up my knees or my arm or shoulder or whatever. But I've been good ever since. As you've seen this year, I've been firing on all cylinders, no flare-ups, and I think that, like I said, with my health and wellness game plan, I'm working with a nutritionist now. So I've got a 24/7. I've got access to a nutritionist. He's got me set up on a nutrition regimen. I take supplements. I do hair analyses, however you say that. And so I've got he's looking out for me. He's actually had Lyme disease. He's had it for 10 years. But Lyme disease is something that you never really get rid of, but you just basically, it lies dormant in your body and you basically don't even know it's there as long as you have it under control. And that's where I'm at right now. And so the 2 years prior has been miserable, but I feel like I've hit my stride now. I feel like I'm kind of, my body's kind of over it. It's fought it, and I'm going to fight it for the rest of my life, and just by eating healthy. And so I think that, that's super, a positive thing for me in my life, that I could take a positive as far as eating healthy, taking supplements, getting a nutritionist on board that basically went through the same thing I did to get where he's at today. And he's basically been totally fine for 10 years. And I'm following the same game plan he is doing, that's allowed him to feel good and not have any flare-ups for as long as he has. So it's awesome to have someone to relate to going through such a traumatizing thing. But yeah, I'm just pumped that I can be back to good health and be playing disc golf and doing what I do best. I'm actually doing a tournament. They're doing a tournament fundraiser at a GBO or DDO now it's called in a couple weeks in Kansas. They're doing a fundraiser for a charity, and I'm picking the Lyme or foundation. I'm doing the Lyme Foundation. So all the money that they raise from that is going to the Lyme Foundation. So it's kind of cool that I can use my experience with that and kind of help other people in the future through this Lyme Foundation that the DDO is donating money to.
That's great, man. And I mean, so basically, no more dollar menu. You gotta stay on the.
We've graduated from that. Yes.
Yeah, good. And yeah, man, I'm just really happy for you, because it was really hard seeing you at the bottom and just seeing the pictures and talking to you on the phone a little bit and texting with you and then playing some golf with you when you were kind of in the middle of flare-ups was just tough to see, because I knew how much talent and drive and fire was inside you, and your body just wasn't letting you do what you could do. So that was really hard to watch, and I'm just really happy to see you back and just firing away. And I hope it stays that way for you, man. I hope you can just kind of keep it going, because it's a sight to see when you're playing well. And it was just really happy for you. So I'm happy to hear you're feeling good.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's awesome to be back.
Sweet.
Thank you for all that kind words.
Yeah, man. All right. So next thing I want to talk about is that Waisaki putt, man. I think I've said this a couple times lately. I think it's the best putt I've ever seen. I want to know, in your words, I got a 2-part question. What makes your putt so different from everybody else's, and can you teach it to me?
Okay, so yes, it is different for sure. There's a lot of reasons it's different. It's it's something to where it's obviously, as if all the followers and fans out there, you can see that I'm putting with nose down, but it's still going forward. That's the weird thing is I always see people when they take pictures of my putt, it looks like, say I'm 20 or 25 feet away, it looks like my putt never got above the rim when it's out of my hand, but yet it goes forward, but still has nose down coming into the basket. So it's just such a weird trajectory. But it's funny. I remember when I was first practicing, I used to be a super fast spin putter when I was growing up and, young. I didn't care about I was never going to miss the basket, right? That's my mindset. And then eventually I missed a putt and I launched freaking 30 feet past the basket and had a 30, 40-foot headwind comeback, and I missed that and then went down to like 3 or 4 putt. And then that's when I'm like, all right, that's not a sustainable putting style. I got to change something here.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to go with this high to low putt. And so my mindset was just try and get this release down. So when I first started doing it, I started throwing basically just like, so being a spin putter, I couldn't throw the disc forward because of the way my motion, or I couldn't throw the disc up. It was just a forward spin.
Yes.
So for me, it was like almost like when people toss a pizza up in the air. You see those when they make pizzas, they just toss up in the air. So I was kind of like practicing like that, just throwing the putter up in the air. And that's a good drill to do if you want to try and get your the style down, is just throwing it up in the air to yourself. A lot of people, when you do that, you actually spin it and it goes forward. So if you're throwing it up in the air and just catching it and just kind of doing that, that kind of gets your feel for the fingers and how it comes off my hand. I think that the biggest thing for me is just adapt. I wanted to adapt a style that was coming in high to low to the basket, because it has, if you think about it, just from a physics standpoint, that has the best chance to go in. If you're going straight at it at a line drive, yeah, if I hit the same spot in a line drive putt versus a high to low putt coming in, the high to low putt might actually go in versus the straight at it putt might bounce out and glaze off the chains. And so just from a physics standpoint and a speed standpoint, I felt like the putting style, once I got it dialed into how I wanted, obviously it took 6 months, a year, 2 years, and still, however old, I'm 27 years old, started it when I was 17 or 18. I'm always adapting. So I'm always changing little things, but the general concept of it is to try and get that putt starting high, hit your aiming point, and come in diving into the basket. And so it's sometimes in the wind, it's not the best putting style, but bearing not severe wind, which we're playing in wind sometimes, but medium wind to no wind I think it's the best style, the most high percentage, for me it's the most repeatable, and I've just trained myself to do it. And I think that it's something where it takes, I wish I could explain it to you, Nate, and show you, say, hey, do this, that, and the other thing, and all of a sudden you'll be making putts in no time. But
let's go.
It took a lot of time. I've actually been working with a younger kid, Jake Hebenheimer, on his putting, so I've been helping him a lot. He's just a young kid that's kind of showed interest in wanting to work hard and dedicate himself to figuring out his putt, and so I've been playing a lot of practice rounds with him the last couple of weeks. And so it's been nice and refreshing to teach him and show him a lot of things that I've been working on throughout my career, and just with my putt and with everything that's transpired to get my putt to where it is today. But yeah, just like I said, I'm always learning, I'm always practicing, I'm always tweaking things. My putt looks the same to the general public, but behind the scenes, I'm changing my arm swing, I'm messing with my timing, I'm messing with how I'm popping my fingers, how the putt, so how my stance is. I'm, straddle putt if I want to have a stagger stance putt. So all the different variables that go into a putt, I'm still messing around with, but there's a core, principle of how the putt comes off my hand that stays very similar. Then I try to keep that consistent. And then all the other moving parts, I change a little bit to see what works, see what doesn't. And so, yeah, it's just like anything. I'm no different than an amateur recreational player that's always trying to get better. I'm doing the same thing. It's just on a smaller scale. I'm just, changing smaller things. I'm not, changing every part of my game, but just like any sport, you have to adapt, you have to grow, and you have to learn no matter how good you are, no matter how bad you are, you're always learning. So it's, that can apply to anybody's skill set.
Yeah.
Just to clear that up, Nate. Just to clear that up for you, that's a no. He's not teaching you.
I kind of that's
it's proprietary.
That's what I figured. Yeah, and that makes perfect sense to me. Honestly, I take that as a compliment, because that means he's a little worried. If I had learned the putt, maybe I'd be a little more of a threat. That's
exactly.
I'm gonna take that as a compliment.
Clearly.
I got to start throwing the disc a little worse, and then he'll teach me. If I start driving a little worse, he'll be like, "Hey, man, I feel bad for you now. Here's the putt."
Right, exactly. Then I'll teach you now. Yeah.
Sweet. All right, cool. So I'll learn it eventually.
I'm no good, Rick. Can you teach me? I'm not going to
Yes,
catch
exactly. You're fair game. Just don't tell Nate. No,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, NDA. They cannot disclose any of this. All right, fair enough, man.
That's so funny.
I respect that. That's no problem. Cool, man. Well, I know we've talked about it a little bit on, I think we might have talked about it on Showmez or Instagram Live or something, but every time I get to talk to you and I think about memories of you and me having some battles, we've had some good ones. But two of them have pretty funny endings, and I thought maybe we could quickly touch on the story of the 2015 Fort Silicon Open and then the 2016 Minnesota Majestic, because we were battling in both of these tournaments, and I think, for me, it's like, I know the one that I won was an A tier, and the one that you won was an A tier too, but it was the very beginning of the DGPT, so it felt a little bit bigger. But for me, it's like, it's the shot. It's like one of the shots that haunts me the most about my career. And I don't know if that tournament was quite important enough to you to haunt you, but it was probably the dumbest mistakes you've ever made in a tournament. So I feel like we should tell the story, because both of us got a nice win, but we also got the other guy kind of handed it away with a really embarrassing mistake. So let's start in 2015 in Washington, where I'm only about 30 minutes from this course now. Actually, I live pretty close to Fort Silicon. Okay. But yeah, man.
I'm glad I can give you some good memories.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. So it was an A tier. Coming down the stretch, you'd been playing well. I think I was one back going into the finals. Dave Feldberg was there. I think Nick Wood was also in the final. But it was kind of like as good as done, because I think with one hole to play, it was about a 400-foot hole. You had a 2-shot lead on me, and I had 2 over Feldberg. So I remember thinking, oh, this is over. I'm taking second. Rick's winning. Feldberg's third. It doesn't really matter. And what happened next?
All right, I'll try to explain it the best I can, and you can take over. So yeah, that point, yeah, it was still, for me. I was pretty obviously more nervous than Nate, because I was winning. So anytime you're playing the final hole and you have the lead, if you're in second, 2 strokes behind, yeah, you're not. You want to win, but you're obviously thinking like, hey, I don't have that much pressure on me. I can just pretty much go for it. But for me, I had a lot of pressure. There was a lot of pressure that came with that shot. So step up the hole 18, Fort Steilacoom. So there's a Mando that's about, I would say, 100 feet in front of the tee pad, something like that. And it's a little bit off on the right-hand side. And I was throwing a sidearm, I believe. Did I throw a sidearm, Nate? Or did I throw
the first tee shot you threw backhand. I thought you would throw forehand, but you went backhand.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was, perfect sign. When I'm under pressure, I try to do the best I can to make the best decisions, but that hole is clearly a sidearm hole. And I decided that the nerves got to me, and I threw a backhand. And this was like a left to right hole. It was a pretty solid sidearm hole. I don't know what I was thinking to throw backhand. But anyways, I threw a backhand, and I ended up missing this Mando that I was talking about that's like 100 feet away. And I would say that probably nobody in the entire tournament missed this Mando that I'm talking about the entire weekend. I mean, it's not even in play.
Yeah, it's only to like protect other people. It's not like there's a sweet route over there. It's like only to just stop.
But it doesn't really have to be a Mando. It's only a Mando to kind of separate these holes, right?
Yes.
It doesn't like affect the hole that we're on. It's just to save the other hole from like us landing over there or whatever. So anyways, I throw the shot and it's so bad, and I was so bad that I literally didn't even like register that there was actually a Mando there, because I was like, it wasn't even in play, and the next thing I know, my disc's flying towards it. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I almost just miss this Mando? And then I'm like thinking like, oh, I did miss the Mando. Holy crap. And then it kind of like dawned on me like, oh wow. And then Nate was in a spot where he was going to get a 3. So anyways, I missed this Mando. I'm like traumatized. I'm thinking, like everybody in the group's like, what is he doing? Did he just really do that? And I think I ended up didn't I get like a kick way left or something over the fence? Or that was my second shot.
Your second shot, you threw a forehand flippy, and I think it flew the fence.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that takes us to the second throw, which would be my third shot after the penalty. So I went to the drop zone, I believe.
No, I think you had a re-tee.
Or re-tee, that's what it was, yeah. So I re-teed after I missed this Mando, and that's how bad the Mando is. There's not even a drop zone because of how it's basically next to impossible to miss this thing. And so I'm re-teeing, and I'm so flustered that I missed it. And I'm sure I rushed my shot or whatever. Anyways, I threw it, and there's a fence on the left-hand side that's also pretty much not really in play for players of our skill set. Shouldn't be really in play. and I ended up throwing over this fence. And now I think I at least advanced up there. So when I threw over the fence, I'm throwing like 4 or something from there. So I get up and down for a 5. I believe.
Yeah, you're throwing 5 from the fence in for 6.
From the fence, yeah. And Nate's basically in the fairway, just getting an easy 3. So now at this point, I'm like so flustered. It was crazy that like I went up to this whole 2-stroke lead, and next thing I know, I'm walking away, and I don't even have a chance to win. It's like it was like the weirdest thing that happened. And then, but that just shows you that what pressure can do. I mean, I've handled the pressure well, and I've succeeded in a lot of big spots, but that's one that, I'm not immune to the pressure no matter how many times I play in it. It's always going to be something that's there, and it's always going to be something that sometimes makes you do weird stuff. As much as you want to succeed and you want to do everything right, sometimes it just doesn't go your way, and that's just a true sign of that. But yeah, that was pretty traumatizing for sure for me. And then it was something to where kind of fell in Nate's lap, and he obviously he ended up taking a 3 on that hole, and I think I took a 6 on like a 400-foot hole that. Yeah, it's a pretty routine 3, I would say.
Yeah, I remember I had kind of like given up on the tee. Like, okay, I'm not going to win. I'll just put it in play. And then I remember turning to my caddy and being like, I don't even have to run this anymore, do I? Like, I just won.
Yeah. Like changed a little bit. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was crazy. I remember it being one where I like won, but it felt really weird to like celebrate because it was such a hard moment for you. And I just remember being like, thanks, I guess.
Yeah.
To like the fans. But yeah, then I paid you back pretty quick because 2016 we got to Minnesota Majestic right at the beginning of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We're up there at Blue Ribbon Pines. I had like just one of my best rounds of my life to start the tournament and had a big lead. And then the second day, it's 27s or 22 holes or something. So I can't. There might have been 3 days. I can't remember. There must have been 3 days. I'm not sure. Either way, it was you were tracking me down. I had the big lead, and then we ended up tied. And we went to a playoff, and the playoff was, I think, just like hole 1 and hole 22, and hole 1 and hole 22, over and over and over.
Yep.
And so we started out, we're just making birdies, I guess, on hole 1. Probably hole 1's real easy. It's like we definitely didn't ever 3 that hole. We're just making birdies on that. But 18 is like this island hole, and it had like this ditch in front of the island that you could go be there, or you could like go up onto the island and go be up there too. It was kind of crazy. And I don't even remember. It must have been like the 4th playoff hole or something. And you went out of bounds.
Yeah, we played 1 twice, and this was the second time that we played 18, so it was a pretty long playoff.
Yeah. And I think I think maybe this is like the 4th playoff hole, and I think you went out of bounds left on the green, and I parked it like 18, 17 feet maybe. A little bit of headwind. And then you went up there, you made your putt, which was nice, because then I couldn't just lay up or, then I still had pressure on me. And there was this little bit of headwind. And I remember thinking about how I had a similar wind putt and I had like spit out. And I just let my brain go wild. Like, well, you wouldn't want to have a spit out. You wouldn't. And I just freaked out. Missed low with like 1,500 people right there, like a 15-footer for the win. Just doink it low. Like most embarrassed I've ever been in my life, maybe, because I was just like one of those moments where you're all of a sudden your face feels 1,000 degrees and you're just like, I can't believe everyone just saw me do that. That was so stupid. But I didn't even lose. I didn't lose yet. I kind of lost because I was broke. I was a broken man, but I didn't lose yet. So then we go to the hole 1 again, and I birdie that again. I'm kind of trying to get myself back in this thing, and then we go to the island hole again. And I can't even remember who tees off first, but I end up going out of bounds on the island, similar to how you had. So I have like 25-footer, and you go out of bounds much worse, short at the creek. So you have like 55, 60-footer. And again, I'm like, all right, well, now I got another putt for the win. How lucky am I? Like I got another chance to win this. No. You go up there and go full raptor legs, bomb putt from the other side, make the thing from 60 feet, just everyone freaking out, screaming. And now all of a sudden I'm feeling like, well, I don't have a putt to win. I got a putt to lose now. Like, because all I could do now is tie you with the 25-footer. And I missed that one. Not as pathetically as the other one. I missed that one, just kind of a normal missed putt. And you won. But yeah, man, it's the first short one that haunts me still. And I just love that story and love thinking about that we both had those kind of like just about as epic of fails as you're going to see at the top professional level. And it just happened to be the other guy who was there to take advantage of it.
No, definitely. It was crazy. Like, it's funny that like we both have the opposite feeling. Like, I didn't really win that, but I fell in my lap. Like, different ways to win, obviously.
Yep.
That winning like that, you're like thinking like, all right, I didn't really win. He lost kind of thing.
Yep. I absolutely feel that way for sure. Well, cool, man. Thanks for being willing to share the embarrassing stories with all the fans.
Of course,
I think now hopefully everyone will have heard that story by now. But I got two more quick things for you before we get to some fan questions. So the first one I wanted to ask you, just other than a fistful of world championships, a ton more big wins, I just want to know kind of what your hopes are for the future and what's Ricky Wysocki doing after his playing career in a perfect world. What kind of goals do you have?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking that question. I know there's obviously I'm full of disc golf knowledge and stuff, but there's also a whole separate side of me. And for me, my career has, my life basically has revolved around disc golf. It's something where I love it and I want to do as much as I can for the sport and everything. And then when I'm done playing, I think that I want to kind of thinking about doing it recently, but I would say the past like 3 years I've been thinking about it. But buying some land, I think that's the disc golfer's dream, is buying some land. Designing a course and having a championship. My goal is to have like a championship level course on the property and maybe an amateur level. So maybe like a par 57 and a par like 60, 65 or something on my property. I was looking in South Carolina buying like around 100 acres and having two maybe three courses depending on how much land I end up buying. Having a house, building a house on it. And basically just having that be my baby after I'm done playing, do clinics, do lessons, and give back to the disc golf world any way I can. Have hookups, RV hookups, try to do like little cabins so people do weekend getaways. And I envisioned doing like what you talked about at BRP. They have all kinds of built up rock greens and water features, lakes, ponds. And so I've been looking at land in South Carolina that have all this stuff, rolling hills, lakes, good quality trees, big trees and stuff like that, so I can design a sweet course. And so, yeah, my number one vision is saving up as much money as I can and being able to purchase land. And like I said, just to kind of live the dream through that, have people come play my course. Like I said, give back, do lessons. And I'm sure they'll be, at that time, if I'm 40 years old or so, I think that's, a good time to call it a day from touring or whatever. Obviously, you never know what the future holds, but kind of not retire from disc golf entirely, but from MPO and maybe just work my way into toning it down a little bit, not touring or traveling as much, and focusing on the property and focusing on growing the course and hosting tournaments maybe potentially. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities that can present themselves after I have the land and I have the course built, but that stuff takes time. And it's something where I really want to do it right and have all the awesome landscaping and treat it like a golf course. To have have memberships, have people can come, have a pro shop, and just have it utilize the disc golf course as an asset in an awesome thing for the community to have access to an amazing property and showcase the sport in an amazing light. And if pros want to come train and practice there, that's great. And if amateurs want to come play the amateur course and just have fun, and so there's just room for everybody to enjoy the sport of disc golf, no matter if you're a top player or a beginner. And so that's my vision between having two separate courses on the property.
Yeah, man, you are speaking my language. That's about the exact same thing that I hope to do. I'll let you design a hole at my place if I can design a hole at your place.
Awesome, dude. All right. 250-foot pig shot coming in.
We need one of those. We need one of those. No, we absolutely need one of those. No, but yeah, I wish you the best, man. That's the dream, and I hope we both get there. That would be so fun to be able to have a lot of ex players have a situation like that where you can kind of stay in the game. Oh, probably Oregon, ideally. Yeah. It's a little more expensive than South Carolina, so I gotta stay on my grind, get saving.
For sure, right? Yeah, exactly.
But we'll make it happen, I hope.
Totally.
All right, man. Awesome. Well, last thing I wanted to touch on before we get to some fan questions. Unfortunately, I don't want to put a downer on the episode, but some bad news. Your older sister Lauren recently diagnosed with brain cancer. I wanted to know how the GoFundMe was going, and if there was a way you could kind of tell our listeners how they might be able to help. And I also want to tell you, I'm going to donate the money that I make from the ads of this show to your sister's GoFundMe as well to help her make sure she wins that fight. Yeah, no, it's awesome that you do that, and I really appreciate Nate and everything the show has to offer for the Wysocki family right now with the donations from that, and that's truly amazing. And it's awesome to see Nate specifically and then the disc golf world coming together for me when I need it. And
definitely looking to do the same in the future for whenever somebody else needs some help. But as for right now, it's kind of tough for us. Yeah, it's anytime you have a situation like that with a loved one that has done so much for me in my career. It's time for me to just not be selfish at all. As much as I try not to be selfish, it's just pretty much all about my sister right now, and doing anything and everything I can to help her get through everything. And so yeah, we did create a GoFundMe so that way she can go through all the treatments and not think about the price of what chemo or radiation and immunotherapy and all the different stuff that she's doing that costs money, obviously. And so yeah, that puts a big damper on the family. And so all the stuff that's going, the people that are donating and the GoFundMe is amazing. There's actually one of your collector pages, Nate. Someone, I don't know if you saw it yet, but someone actually, that's. So if you guys go to, do you have 2 collector pages, don't you, Nate?
No, I don't. That's the main one, Nate
Is that the
Sexton
main one?
Collector Group or something,
Okay.
or page.
Okay, yeah.
That's, you can find it on Facebook. But what should people? What's her name is Lauren, and could you maybe spell her last name or maybe first and last? So if people want to Google Lauren blank GoFundMe, then our listeners could kind of get there.
We'll get some links shared.
Or we can link it up. Yeah, that'll work too.
Sure.
Cool, yeah.
All right, perfect.
You can either go on Nate. I know if you guys see, I don't know when you guys release this podcast, but I think that was going for another couple days, but it'll probably be done by the time the people hear this. But yeah, if you want to go to the GoFundMe, it's Lauren Mays, Mayse is her last name now that she's married. So that's her last name, Lauren Mays, and you can find it. I believe I'm posted on my Twitter. SakiBomb13 is my Twitter if you want to go check that out and check out the GoFundMe there. And then you can kind of see the story, and we did a little bio as far as the backstory and stuff like that.
Cool.
But yeah, no, it's been awesome to see all the people in the disc golf world through your page, Nate, and people, just random disc golf supporters and fans that really get behind it, and that's what makes our sport so amazing. Is not that we're I'm all about benefiting all the time, but it just makes me want to give back in any instance when I feel the need to, and I see a situation where I want to return the favor. That's what the first instinct that I get when I see all the support from my sister, and it's just amazing. And I want to thank everybody that's hearing this that has donated to the GoFundMe, or some people were just donating discs to the fundraiser, and that's amazing as well. So anybody that's been a part of it, just thank you so much, and I'll keep everyone updated on the status of that. And it's
Great.
Just amazing to have disc golf be a
Yeah, well, we definitely wish her the best and hope it's a speedy recovery. And just want to say thank you to you as well, Rick, for taking time to join us. But do you have time for a couple of fan questions that our fans sent in for you?
Perfect. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. And we got a lot of them. And guys, I'm going to go ahead and share links to the GoFundMe. You can find it on the Instagram and Facebook on Running It with Nate Sexton. If you could just go ahead and shoot $1 or $2, whatever you can, we would certainly appreciate it here from the show. But we've got a ton of fan questions. I'm not going to bombard you with all of them. But before we get started, I want to ask both of you guys this, because I'm really into the sport of disc golf and the important topics and the things that people are talking about. So Nate and Ricky both, I'm going to ask you guys for a little speculative prediction here. Who is the hot dog bandit, and why is it Eric Oakley?
That's funny. I think personally, I think it's the entire Dynamic Discs crew, in my opinion. I think they're all in on it together. I think they all funded the UDisc, the UDisc advertisement. I think that they're all secretly have a hot dog stamp in their bags, and they go around and stamp everybody's discs and while we're not looking. And that way it's really hard to pin it down and narrow it down to somebody. And that's why nobody's pinned it down yet. I think it's an entire team. So I'm calling out the Dynamic Discs team. I think they're all doing it. Yep. I
mean, have they got you already, Rick, or no?
No, they have not. And so now after this podcast, maybe I'm going to be more in the hot seat, and they're going to want to hit me more.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't been out there I don't know that I've been out there on tour for the peak of Hot Dog Bandit. I've definitely seen the ad on UDisc, and that is suspicious that Tina and Eric are going to those lengths of making the faux documentary.
Right.
And
exactly.
and so that does cast a little suspicion for me. But I'm gonna be doing my own research when I get back out there in Emporia. See if, and
Yeah.
that's going to be a perfect time to find them too, if it is dynamic discs, because they're going to be riding high. They're going to be feeling confident. They're at their home base. That's when
Oh,
that's
yeah.
our chance to catch them.
Yeah, tons of cover. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's when we're going to catch them. So yeah, Rick
Yep,
and Rick
I
and
like
Nate
it.
are on the case. Rick and Nate are on the case. Rest assured, we're going to catch them.
All right. I'm looking forward to getting to the bottom of that one. And I told Eric that I was calling him out, and he said, dude, it's not me. And I said, well, I'll use the same platform to apologize if I'm wrong. But in the meantime, listen, I don't make the rumors, man. I just spread them. So that's kind of where I'm at on this.
Right.
We had a ton of questions came in, but I know we got a couple of audio submissions. If you guys want to submit your audio questions for upcoming shows, you can get us at runningitpodcast@gmail.com. But let's start off with an audio question.
Hey, Jarett, Nate, and Rick. Big fan of the show. Thanks so much for fielding questions. Also, thanks so much to Rick. I've seen him on a lot of stuff in the last few weeks, so it's exciting to see him doing a lot more podcasts and interviews. So appreciate his time as well. My question would be kind of similar to probably questions you've heard in the past, but I want to kind of dive in deeper to that aspect of the question. You're always kind of compared to Paul. It's always you and Paul, or the Paul versus Rick era. Does that ever get obnoxious to you at all, for the constant comparison to Mr. Macbeth? Or is that something that you kind of brush off? Because it seems to be that it's always the debate of who is one of the greatest players ever, and it seems to be him, Ken Climo, and then in this era, obviously, it would be between you both. You kind of stand alone. What would be your thoughts on that constant comparison to him? Or kind of what you want your legacy to be. I know you said Saki Bomb is back, and I'm a big fan. I'm excited to watch. I've been rooting for you. So I hope you have a great rest of your season, and let's go for that third Worlds, baby.
Nice. That's great. Well, thanks for that question, that motivation at the end there. But yeah, I think that it's just part of how the sports turned out. It's a lot of events like me and Nate have talked about earlier in the show. Is a lot of the world championships, a lot of the big events, the NTs, the Pro Tour events, the majors. Just comes down to me and Paul a lot of the times when we're playing at the top level that we do frequently. And so it's just kind of something that's nature. It's the nature of the beast, I guess. Is when you got two top level athletes just that happen to be playing in the same era. It's the way I look at it. Is that we're both doing our thing, and it rises. The level of play from both of us. I think that we both know that if he lacks, he has a bad hole here or there, or I do vice versa coming down the stretch, that the other person's going to make you pay. And so we're such intense competitors that I think that the way I look at it, as a positive, I think that it's something to where if I know when I'm playing against Paul, a lot of people compare me against him, and so that's more motivation for me in the future. So it just boils back to something that. There's a lot of things I could be proud of in my past, but there's a whole future ahead that I can change the dynamic of the Paul-Ricky rivalry, and I feel like that's my number one goal. Is I'm only 27 years old. I've still got 8 to 10 years more of top level disc golf play, and I dictate, and I have control of my future, and so that's, as a competitor, that's a really positive confidence booster for me, and knowing that I think I've even got 3 years on Paul. I think he's 30, so I think I've got. So I've got 3 years on him, and it's something to where, it's a great rivalry, and I'm glad to be a part of it, honestly. And nothing bad to say besides that. We're great competitors, and we raise the level of play for the entire sport, and it's awesome to be a part of it. I'm glad it seems like it's awesome storylines for the sport as well.
You just missed a killer chance to say, well, it's the nature of the McBeast.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, good question. Good question, good answer.
All right.
And I believe we've got another audio question. Let's just go ahead and get that one in right now as well.
Cool.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Josh with Daddy Disc Golf. I have a question for Ricky. Ricky, recently I was invited to a collector page on Facebook that was dedicated to nothing but Ricky Wysocki discs. Surprised thinking to myself that there hasn't been a page like this long before. Hopefully you've joined it by now. How do you feel about this page coming out? Do you like it? Do you not care? And secondarily, bonus question, what's your favorite run of Tour Series pig?
Awesome.
Dang,
Thanks
people give Ricky problems for talking fast. That guy was flying. All right.
Yeah, he was running it.
Yeah, no doubt. Makes me look slow. No, thanks for the question, but yeah, so it's definitely cool to have a Facebook page. I think the coolest part about it is to have everybody kind of consolidated in one place and have everyone talking about your discs. It's a pretty cool feeling to say, hey, these people are part of a Facebook page that are collecting my discs and think it's awesome that my name's on a disc. So more than anything, it's gratifying, I guess, and I'm definitely thankful for everybody out there that supports me, supports Throwing the Pig, and has joined the Facebook page. It was funny, actually. I reached out to one of the admins actually from your page, Nate, and I asked him if I was just curious, like, hey, what are the details and how do you create a Facebook fan page or something, and or collector page, I should say. And then it's funny, and then literally that day, like I think right as I was talking to that guy, a page got created. So it's just funny, just as soon as you put something out in the universe, it happens. It seems like, and so that's exactly what happened. Some separate person just created it the same day I was actually going to go about creating one. So it's a cool feeling to have a page and have everybody kind of in one. And like you said, this page, your page, Nate, the collector page, has started a fundraiser for my sister. So there's a lot of stuff there that goes beyond just disc golf and beyond just collecting discs. It impacts families like the Wysocki family. It impacts lives, and a lot of these pages do a lot of amazing things for the sport and for just the world in general. So yeah, it's an amazing thing. I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm trying to be on there and be active as much as I can to help you guys and support you and show my appreciation to the page. As far as the pig, I enjoy the 2020 pig a lot. I think that's my favorite run of pig. I think that it's flat, great feeling for sidearm. The plastic was great, came in a lot of cool colors, and I just really enjoyed how they broke in as well. So there's a lot of different things that I enjoyed about the 2020. The 2021, I haven't spent too much time throwing, so that may change in the future. But right now I'm going with the 2020, nice and flat and great for sidearm approaches. That's what I need it for.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to joining your page, Rick. I attempted to join Nate's, but after I submitted my bank statements, I didn't meet the financial requirements. So I'm not in on that page right now. But
that's so. Are you referring to like all the questions you have to answer?
No, just the amazing prices that they sell those Nate Sexton Firebirds.
I got you now.
They saw the bottom line, me having 3 kids, and they said, you know what? We just don't think you're going to be a player in this group. So we thank you for applying, but why don't you check the 15 and under group? And so that's where I'm at right now. Got a lot of fun questions here. James asked from Facebook, if for some goofy reason the World Championships were bring your own partner doubles and you got first pick, which of the touring pros would you choose to be your partner and why? Cross sponsorships allowed.
I would say Drew Gibson. I would say I feel like he would be the best match with my game and his game. He's an amazing thrower. That's his specialty. I think he's one of the best throwers, smoothest throwers, best form, has a ton of distance. And so I think that his game, his drives and his swing paired with my putting would be pretty amazing combination. And so I think just for that reason alone, if I had to pick a partner, it'd be him, just because of how our games complement each other. And I think that's a huge thing in doubles. And so, yeah, it'd be really fun to try that. I know there's been a doubles USDGC doubles version in the past, years back, but I wish they would bring that back because I think that'd be an awesome, a really fun format that I think that would showcase a lot of fun shots. And so Drew Gibson's my pick, and I hope we can get together to show the world what we can do someday.
Nate, who you bringing? Don't say Big Germ.
No, I wouldn't. It wouldn't be Big Germ. No offense, buddy. Let's see. It's tough, man. I think, on paper you'd be a little bit foolish to leave your Paul Macbeths and your Ricky Wysocki's on the table. So I got to say, one of them would probably, if it was like life or death, I probably got to pick one of those two guys. The other guys I think about being really fun is Jarett Gerthy, because I think the same thing like you're talking about with Drew, that we like have such different skill sets that it's like, it would be interesting and kind of cool to be like, I'm really, really consistent, so I can like allow him to like be as Jarett as he can be, which is like a fun idea to think about. And then also I think Kale LaVisca would be really fun, because I think we could never miss a hole under 450 feet and just try to scrap it out on the rest of them. And that
for sure.
That would be kind of fun too. So I don't know.
Polar opposite partners, polar opposite styles.
Yeah, I say if there's
both match.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I hope I get the chance to pick someday, and I hope I get that first draft pick. That would be cool.
That would be cool. It'd be like a doubles draft.
Yeah.
I think it's great that you picked Drew too, Ricky, because I don't know if you remember, but a couple years ago the internet blew up, and I actually sent you a message on Facebook Messenger, and I said, "Hey man, you put a picture up on Instagram, and there's an Innova box right behind you, and everybody's going nuts about it." And you were like, "Oh no, that's not mine, man. Drew was here. Those are Drew's discs." And then oddly enough, you announced your sign with Innova just a few days later. So
That's so funny.
He's your scapegoat in all things, also.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
That's so funny.
I
I think
that's
he was
pretty-
actually touring with me at that time. I don't remember all the details, but it could have actually been Drew's box. You never know.
Yeah. Either way, he was there. He was there to save it for you.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got Lincoln from the sends into an email. Nate, you throw the dart and Mako 3 forehand. Have you ever messed around with a pig, and why not? And what would it get you to take you to bag one? Rick, we got to convert him.
Right?
I want to be converted. I need it. I'm on the hunt for this 2020 pig right now. Like I've tried. The thumb track thing is a little tough for me. I find I don't know what it is about the depth of the pig, or really like any mid range that I've ever thrown. When I try to power up on it, I find that I like miss my line left. Like I hold on to it a little bit too long compared to a driver. And I've never really like gotten over that to where I can like confidently rip mid ranges through. But the pig is a great option for that kind of thing. I try the Cayman as well. The Mako 3 and the dart, like, yeah, I've thrown them forehand, and I've thrown some, especially with that Mako 3 on that one day in California when I made those two, that made it seem like I do that a lot. I don't do that a lot. That was like a skins match strategy. Like that's not like a part of my game, I wouldn't say, is the Mako 3 forehand. You don't see me go to that.
Yeah.
Or just throwing it at all, really, for a forehand. I don't really do that, but in skins it was working that day, so yeah. But yeah, I'm on the hunt. I'm looking for this 2020 pig. I'm going to give it another try because I absolutely want to throw it. The way Ricky throws it, I want to do that because it looks a lot like, if I could have a Sexton Firebird at every speed, I'll be all right. Because if it goes flat and then fades, that's like all I'm looking for. Right. It's like a slow one, a fast one, and the pig, Ricky makes it look that way. So I just need to learn to throw it like him. And while I'm learning that, try to maybe get a little sneak peek at the putt, and then I'm there.
And then you'll be there.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, gosh. One of our go-tos here. Jarett from Buffalo asks, Rick, what was it like switching from Innova, leaving, going to a new sponsor, coming back to Innova? What kind of changes did you feel? Was Innova just the right fit for you? Was switching up your bag that different? Did you notice the difference in playing for the different sponsors, or are you just out there killing it with whatever's in your bag?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a great question. I know people see players moving and changing sponsors, so they're just curious how it affects your game, and I think it definitely does. I mean, I think each set of discs has a different way they fly a little differently. I mean, I think that my swing changed, the way I throw discs changes a little bit based on who I'm sponsored by and how the discs are generally flying. And so going from, like, let's say Prodigy, which at that point I was sponsored by Prodigy when they didn't have all their molds. And so I was able to throw, some AVRs and Firebirds as well as some Prodigy discs because they didn't make all the molds. So I think that it just, for me, when I was sponsored by Prodigy, the fact that I was throwing AVRs, throwing Firebirds, even when I was sponsored by Prodigy, showed me that, like, hey, yeah, I think that Innova's always kind of been in the back of my head, the company that I've always liked, even if when I was not sponsored by them. Obviously, I'm doing my thing and I'm, doing the best to pursue my career and, best opportunities that I can, make for myself and in my career to reach all the goals that I want. But yeah, it's definitely a change. Disc wise is definitely your whole new bag of discs. It takes, I would say a couple months for me to really feel comfortable with all the discs, breaking in discs to get them to where you want them. And so there's definitely a learning curve. Definitely, it's, what's the saying? It's not the arrow, or it's not the archer, it's the arrow kind of thing. Or it's not the arrow, it's the archer.
It's the archer, man.
Yeah, exactly. So that's definitely true when at our level, but at the same time, there are some minute differences that can be it can affect some strokes down in a tournament if you're playing a long tournament. So, but yeah, it's, being sponsored and going through Prodigy to Latitude to Innova, Innova is awesome. They make great discs. They're really receptive to new things. I think that, with the pig and everything that I've got going with that, it's been a great branding experience for me, and just promoting such an awesome disc that I love, and it complements me as well. It explains me to a T because I love throwing it and it fits my game so well. I think that partnering with a company that does that and sees the vision of how I complement something that I'm really good at is amazing. It's a good feeling to have that from a company. And so, yeah, I'm happy where I'm at right now. And I'm definitely thankful to work with all the other companies that I've been sponsored by as well. They've all been great, and they've all been super supportive of me. And I'm, don't have much bad to say about the companies that I've played for in the past. And it was a great thing. And I just love disc golf. I love being sponsored and supporting the companies that I did in the past. And so it's been a great run, and I'm super excited for the future with Innova. They've been the most supportive out of all of them.
Absolutely. Now, to follow up on that, Ethan from Instagram asks, Nate, were you at all involved in Ricky's move to Innova? Like, did Dave give you the corporate card and have you wine him and dine him and explain to him all the amazing things about coming to Team Innova? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, a little. I wasn't, I was talking to him, obviously, but he'd already been with Innova before, so I think he knew what was going on. What I think I can share is that off season that we were kind of trying to make sure we added Rick, Kevin Jones was also kind of like a free agent. And he was a really promising young player. He wasn't quite the Kevin Jones we know and love now. He was just kind of starting out. And I remember taking him to dinner on the company card and talking to him about what Innova had to offer and all that. And then, he had a lot of companies coming at him. And I remember, his asking price was going up, which makes sense. Why not if companies are offering things to you? And I remember at a certain point kind of going, we got to put all our eggs in the Rick basket. I mean, this guy is one of the all-time greats. Like, we can't afford to let this guy get past us. Got to have Rick on the team. So that was my input in a way. No slight against Kevin, but as we were trying to decide our signings, it was kind of like, man, Kevin is a lot of potential, but unproven at this moment. And Rick is proven time and time again, that he's one of the greatest. So I was all the way in the Rick camp at that moment and saying, hey man, let's do whatever it takes to get Rick on the team.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for all the kind words. Thanks for doing that, because I'm glad I'm where I'm at, and I'm definitely appreciative that you helped make this move happen for sure. I remember at the Pro Tour Finals, I talked to you.
Yep.
What year was that? Was that 2016 or 17?
I think maybe 17.
Okay.
It was when it was in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, Jacksonville. I remember talking to you a lot then. And you kind of sharing details back and forth. But yeah, that was when I kind of really realized I wanted to be with Innova, and yeah, you definitely had a lot to do with that. So thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, listen, I can edit this out, man. I don't know if there's tampering laws like in the other major sports, but I don't know if you guys could be having those conversations during that time.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, so far we're good.
That's funny.
So far we're good, but yeah, that might be coming down the pipe. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, we would have loved to have Kevin as well. No, I don't want anybody to take away from this that I was anti-Kevin, but if I had to make a choice, I'm taking the 2-time world champion.
Thank you.
All right, I gotta ask one more, Rick, because this question came up so many different times, and I think this guy actually might be trying to get a little burn off of me, because he says he's Harry from Buffalo, but there's Jarett from Buffalo, and then there's everybody else. But Harry from Buffalo, they ask, and I've got this 20 different times, so I apologize to the other 19 people that asked. Everybody knows about the rivalry on the course. What kind of relationship do you and Paul Macbeth have off the course?
It's been pretty as much as we are fierce competitors and we play all the time, and it's kind of like we don't really have a relationship, I guess, so to say, off the course, just because I think over the years I used to travel with them at a certain point, and then once we traveled together, and we I think this was back in 2012, I believe. We would travel together. We used to be pretty close friends. And then once we started competing, playing every week in and week out, playing with each other, staying in the same hotel, it just kind of got to a point where I think it just kind of naturally we were competing for the win every week and grinding, and it's just so the competition started leaking over into our like personal lives, and so it just kind of got a little weird. And so then thereafter, it's pretty much been just business between us. We'll shake hands and say, you know, congrats at the end of the tournament, and you know, good luck before the tournament, and that's pretty much the extent of it. I think just the rivalry throughout the years has transpired to the point where it's kind of put a damper on the personal side as far as that goes. And that's, you know, nothing wrong with that, but that's just kind of how it's played out. And yeah, so I think it just goes to the fact that, you know, rivalry and competition can cut deep sometimes. And yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now.
Very politically correct. I like that.
I just think that's how sports works. I mean,
yeah,
it's just, that's how, like, when has there ever been a time? It's like when you're at the top of any sport, the number 1 and number 2 guys, or the 1 and the 1A, they're going to be the most intense competitors you're going to run into. And when have those guys ever been like, yeah, we're number 1 and number 2, and we're going out for pizza after the round, no matter
exactly.
no matter who wins? Like, it's just not how it works.
World championship.
You're fighting too hard against each other,
Yeah.
and there's you both want it too much to be like the best of friends. I think it's respect, and I think it's, you know, but it's not a. Yeah, and I think anyone who expects you guys to be the best buddies is kind of crazy. They don't know what it's like to try to fight it out at the top level.
Not realistic. And it's something to where, you know, down the road when we're 35, 40 years old, you never know. It could be like, hey, dude, that was a great run. You know, share thoughts, share memories. That's definitely something that I think could possibly happen.
Yep.
And I hope it does, you know. But right now, it is what it is, and it's not good or bad. It's just, you know, that's kind of, like you said, nature of the beast for the situation that we're both in, and, you know, the fact that we're both playing at a high level, and I think that's going to continue to the future. And like I said, future we may be, you know, both having our private courses and be hopefully well off to the point where we're like, all right, dude, let's share some memories. That was some crazy times we had in the past, right? Like,
yeah.
So I hope that happens in the future.
Yeah, let's go race McLarens on the weekends or something.
Exactly right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I like it.
Perfect.
Well, Rick, you've answered a ton of questions. You've been an amazing guest. I guess the last thing that I want to ask you is, the official snack of Running It with Nate Sexton right now is Double G's beef jerky. Now, I know you're on a pretty strict diet, but have you had an opportunity to try any of that yet? I
am on a strict diet, and actually, it's funny. Jarett said he was talking to me the other day, and he was talking about how trying to make me like a grass-fed. They use grass-fed meat for the beef jerky, which I'm all pumped for. I try to eat organic grass-fed meats as much as I can. So he was going to try to do that. So I'm going to talk to Jarett and see. I've tried it. It's amazing. It really is a good product. And it's awesome for Jarett that he's doing well with that, and people are loving it. And yes, I have had it. And Terry, we always used to joke back in the day, and he always called teriyaki flavored beef jerky. You always call it teriyaki. Teriyaki beef jerky, because that was my nickname, Saki Bomb. So it's just kind of funny. So he calls it the teriyaki flavor. So the teriyaki flavor was great. I tried that one. I haven't tried any of the other ones.
They're all good.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing that I can ask from you, Rick, is that you know, you don't be a stranger, and we get a chance to have you come back on, because I think we just scratched the surface on your playing career, and it's been amazing being able to have you on. I saw that the ratings just came out, 1055, which is a new personal high for you, correct?
Yes, sir. It is.
Big time.
Awesome. Awesome. Yep. So, yeah, we would love to have you back whenever you can. At this point, why don't you go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, plug your social medias, your websites, if you've got discs to sell, anything you got going on, let the Running It listeners know how they can keep up with you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that opportunity. So basically, I'm pretty frequent on Instagram, post a lot there, post a lot about what I'm doing, tournaments coming up. Check out SakiBomb13 on Instagram and Twitter. That's my handle on both of those. I got some cool YouTube stuff in the future. So I got a YouTube channel that I'm working on. And yeah, I got a Facebook fan page also, Ricky Saki Bomb Waisaki. And then, like we talked about, the collector page, that's becoming pretty popular. People are posting a lot of cool discs and a lot of cool things happening in the Saki Bomb world. So check that out. And normally I have a website, sakibomb.com, with all my sister stuff. She's the one that handles that. So that's on temporary hold. But normally sakibomb.com is loaded with gear and Saki Bomb branded stuff that you guys can support with. And I'm really happy with how that's been going. So thank you guys for having me. Really glad to share some thoughts, and thanks for setting me up with great questions. It's been a pleasure being on the show, and I'm excited to hopefully be on in the future as well.
Yeah, man, we really appreciate you taking the time, and best of luck at Jonesboro. I'll be on the call with Disc Golf Network, and hopefully you can make so many putts that I get another 10 birdies in the row at the course. If you can inspire me again.
Awesome.
So I'll be watching.
Thank you guys so much. Glad to be a part, and good luck with the show.
Yeah, thank you, Rick, man, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. I'll see you in Kansas, and we're going to find that bandit. Let's do it.
All right. Yep. Dynamic Disc, we're coming for you.
All right.
Well, Nate, once again, you lined up an amazing guest for us. Ricky is just, he talks as fast as he putts, and he's just a lot of fun. What a great guy, and really exciting for the listeners. It's just awesome to have Rick on, man. Yeah,
and I mean, it's just like to do this show, I got to kind of open up everybody's PDGA history and kind of dig into some stats. And Rick he just doesn't get enough credit because of Paul. But his career, I mean, he's only 27, and his career has just been phenomenal. He's one of the greatest players ever to live. And it's like, I don't think enough people talk about him in that way, but I think we will be talking about him that way when he hangs these things up, because he's just incredible. To watch him operate at his best is a really amazing thing.
Absolutely. Now, Nate, real quick, I'm going to plug in another fan question. This one was specifically for you, and I think this one might catch you off guard a little bit here. So Eric from Kentucky writes in, my wife and I are having a baby boy soon. We're considering the name Nathan, since according to Jarett, if your name is Nate, you're a good disc golfer. But we're having trouble with a middle name. What's yours?
Oh, that's cool. My middle name is Michael, and it's probably about the most common middle name there is. But all I know is that it's my grandfather and my dad's middle name, so it's my middle name. And if Coraline had been a boy, I guess I would have kept it going. But yeah, Michael. If you want to use it, feel free. I think it's probably one of the most common middle names. It's Paul Macbeth's middle name.
Well, gosh, so I guess being middle name Michael also helps playing disc golf.
And you want to know what Ricky Wysocki's middle name is?
What is it?
Nathan.
Wow. You just blew my mind. So
you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong with that name.
Yeah. So if he wants to go Nathan Michael, or if he wants to do like Nathan Jarett from Buffalo, or like whatever middle name he wants to plug in there, I think would be fine. But watch out, man. These people are naming babies after you now. That's what it's coming to.
Yeah. It's an honor.
So I guess now we can kind of let the cat out of the bag, because Ricky Wysocki, huge show, the number one rated player in the world right now. But Nate, you lined up a doozy for our next episode. Should we let everyone know who we're going to be running it with next?
Yeah, this is the one. This is the one we've been waiting for. This is not the number one rated player today. This is the number one rated player in the history of the universe. This is Mr. Ken Climo, the champ, 12-time world champion, a guy that's not done a whole lot of interviews in the last couple of years, or really ever, since disc golf media has blown up. So, I mean, he's the guy. He's the absolute guy you have to talk to, more important than any other guest we'll probably ever have, in terms of how much he knows and how many stories he has and the life he's lived, dominating the sport throughout the 90s and the early 2000s. I can't wait to hear his take on some of what's going on today, and hear some stories from his dominant years, and hear how he got started even playing. I don't know very much of any of that. So Mr. Ken Climo has agreed to come on the show. I did a happy dance after I got off the phone with him. It's that important for us to get to talk to him and share some of his stories.
I am so excited for that one. I think that the fans have been asking. You guys can finally stop sending the messages like, hey, have you ever thought of having Ken Climo? Yes, we have thought about it. And Nate was able to finally lock it down. So, guys, mark your calendars for that one. Next Friday, Ken Climo will be dropping, and it's going to be an amazing show. Remember to check out our sponsors over at FisherDiscGolf.com. And, of course, if you guys want to pack a little snack for your round, or as you guys are watching Jonesboro or any of these upcoming tournaments, check out Double G Craft Jerky. Getting a great snack, helping support our show, helping support kids to get their PDGA junior memberships, and helping support Jarett, who's just an awesome guy. It is so important to support our sponsors, so make sure you check them out. In the meantime, Nate, gosh, we just had Ricky on the show, so I don't even think we have to talk about laying up, right?
No, I got the slow-mo on loop here on the putt. I'm in the lab right now, and yeah, let's just say I'm running it now that I know what I know.
Yeah, we got to run it. Guys, we'll see you next week.